Today I've got a little bit planned that focuses on the spine. It's basically the movement of cat-cow. So that cat-cow movement is designed to extend and contract the spine. It's a very important movement, and we can incorporate that in our regular poses. But what I was thinking about when I was planning the class is not only is it good for alignment and for the vertebra, the spine and the muscles around the spine, it's also a way to connect with the breath. That's why we often open in cat-cow, but we're going to incorporate that same spinal. Some traditions, instead of cat-cow, they call it a pelvic tuck and a pelvic lift, or cat tuck, cat lift, which is probably how I'll refer to it today, because it's kind of sometimes a little confusing to think, okay, which is cow or whatever. But we'll kind of really come to our spine and see if it can help support an expansion of the spine and a contraction. And that way we can almost, I call it kind of resting breath. Sometimes we reach a sort of a failure in a pose muscularly. So I wanted to start in hero's pose, and if I'm remembering it right, that is not a super comfortable position for you. That's the one where we sit on our heels. We can do this sitting, no worries, but I was working with somebody the other day and they were able to relieve the knee pressure by putting like a little pillow or bolster or something, or blanket. Would you try that? Just this position really helps free the pelvis a little bit, so it's maybe worth a try. If at any time you just realize this is not good for my knees, you're just going to come out of it and go into a cross leg. So it's a good pose to kind of find a straight alignment of the back. And we're just going to start way up in the neck, very simply. Let the chin come to the chest, and then let the chin rise and look up. No forcing. So we're warming up. You just want to feel that action of letting the head be heavy, chin to the chest, and then compressing the back of that cervical spine, raising the chin. A few times like that, and then begin to let it go into the upper back and shoulder area. By that I mean, when you look up, you might lift the breastbone, lift the chest a little bit. When you look down, let the shoulder blades widen, and notice how this is essentially a cat-cow movement. So just let it extend as it can. Inhaling, lifting the breastbone, lifting the heart space, looking up if that's comfortable on your neck, and then reversing all that. Rounding, opening the back. I'm going to try to bring a lot of awareness to this movement. And just explore it a bit. So you'll be happy to know we can get off your knees now, but good job. And we'll come to the cat tuck tilt in our all fours position, like we normally do. The hands are nice and pressed into the ground. Shoulders are right over the wrists, and just keep that same action. Inhaling, letting the head come up, breasts come up. Exhaling, finding that round tuck. And that tuck will go all the way into the hips. But you may feel it most strongly in the belly. So So in this cat tuck, the hip pubic bone's kind of coming forward, and we're getting a lot of roundness in the spine. Become even more mindful of having the breath with that movement. Now, we'll just extend it a little bit. So on the tuck part of it, belly comes in, the pelvis tucks. We're going to push back to a little bit of a child pose, keeping that belly lifted and the spine kind of round. And then lower the elbows and come through. It's kind of a modified cobra, letting the chest rise, and you're going to make a circle like that. So the hips come back by the heels. Then on the inhale, we begin to expand the breath, coming forward as we do that. And you might not be as low. Just see if you can find a circle like that. Really bringing a lot of movement into the spine. Sort of an expanded version of a cat-cow. And just rest in child when you get there. Kind of let that effort go. Let the breath settle. Come onto our buttocks and do some of those spinal rolls on our sits bones. So let your legs come forward. We can do this series in what we call staff pose, Dandasana. So the legs are straight out in front and the spine is erect, but because our focus is on the spine, we don't care if our knees have to bend. We want the spine to be free. So pretend you're in cat-cow. We're going to use this position a couple times. Here's our floor, our pretend floor. We're going to press into the floor and let the back round, just like our cat position. And then let the chest rise into those hands as if we were, and just do that a couple times, back and forth. We're going to refer to this as our pretend cat-cow. I mean, it is the same movement of the spine, but we don't have the floor exactly supporting the movement through the spine. We have to kind of find those muscles on our own. Make this our last one. Inhale. Exhale. Oh, yeah. Let the arms come behind and stay on our buttocks like this. Maybe you can get your legs a little further out. It doesn't matter. We're going to try that same spinal action in this sort of reverse tabletop. So the hands compress into the floor, chest lifts on the inhale, get those shoulder blades close together, and then reverse that. Belly tucks, round, a couple times like that. Inhale, lift. Feel the breath come all the way into the top of the lungs. Exhale, let that rounding contraction push the air out of the lungs. A couple more times like that. And go ahead and sit up. We're going to try this in a couple little positions. Just because whatever the arms and legs are doing, you should still be able to feel that action in the spine. So I'm going to come to a V shape, a little modified dragonfly. Doesn't have to be very far out. It's all about the spine. Find that pretend floor. Push the floor around the back and come up into that cow. Almost like you can get your chest between the hands a couple times like that. I just found myself reversing my breath. There's nothing really wrong with that. We tend to like the feeling of the inhale with the expanded chest, but you can reverse it sometimes and actually inhale behind and strongly exhale coming forward. For whatever reason, sometimes that is more supportive. One more position for this pretend cat-cow. We're going to come in, let our soles of our feet come together, you see, right? Not too far in, because we want our spine to have plenty of movement. So just try it in this position. You might begin to feel what it does, not just to the shoulders, but to the hips. So press into the floor. And then let the chest come up through those hands. And I like it. You don't have to do it. You can do it more slowly, especially if one of these feels worth exploring a little bit. In fact, let's do that. Let's come on through. I'll wait for you. Yeah. When you're in that cow, the lift, just hold it for a couple breaths. See if you can breathe fully in this sort of awkward hold of the spine, and the same thing going back. Go all the way back to that round spine, contracted belly, tilted hips, and just breathe for a couple breaths. And then come on up. Very nice. And just let's energize our legs a little bit. We're going to come to standing. So that's a lot of simple moves, but it's actually a lot of work on the spine. So just come to standing. For our standing flows today, I'd like to work from the back of the mat. So instead of lunges to come in and out of our vinyasas, we're going to do a little walk forward with our hands. It's hard to get this exactly where you can see me. Probably more important to see the mat, huh? So find your nice mountain. A lot of awareness in that spine. Now, the hips and the pelvis are sort of between a tilt and a tuck, yeah? And you'll find that. So if we were to really tuck our hips, our buttocks would contract and we're kind of tight down there. And if we were to just have no effort and we let the back sway, we don't have power in the belly. So we want to lift and find a truly neutral spine that's sort of lifted right in between a tuck and a tilt. This takes a long time. I'm still working on it a lot because I have a naturally swayed back. So for me to stand in an alignment, it actually feels like a little bit of a tuck. For you, it might be different. For you, you might be naturally more tucked, and you're having to learn to release tension in those hips. So let's find that pretend floor so we can feel that alignment and just push the floor and purposely tuck the hips, and then come on through into the cow or the elevated cat, and do that a few times, just like we did on the floor. Tilt, tuck, tilt, and lift the chest. Let the arms float down. We'll get into a flow here. We're gonna let ourselves come to a forward bend. So the feet are planted, the back is released over the legs. You can certainly put a little bit of a bend in the knees, protect that lower back. And then when we do a half forward bend, I want you to feel how this is a cat-cow tuck tilt movement. So when we stretch the spine long, we're in a little bit of a cow. The spine is long, our chest is lifted, and then let it go, let the back round. You're in a very soft cat. Do that a few times. Long, feel the air to the top of the lungs, nice long spine. The hips will naturally tilt, and then let the back release. Let the hips align into more of a tuck. One more like that. You can support yourself on your thighs or your shins, whatever helps you get a nice long spine where you feel the lift all the way through the chest. And then exhale and let it go. Good job. Now we're going to come to our plank by just walking the hands forward. So bend the knees as much as you need to find your plank. So now we want our back very neutral. There's a little bit of a tuck, I would say, to get the most strength. And test it out. Lower the knees. And lift the knees a couple times. Noticing what the back is doing. Lower. Lift. One more like that. Lower the knees. The chest can lift through those arms, just like the tilt. And then let the belly come in, let the pelvis tuck. Find that strength and plank. Good job. And just see if you can walk back. So use the hands to come back to your forward bend. And rise up. We'll get our vinyasa arms. Just rest the shoulders, bring the arms up, look up if that's comfortable, and then come on down, forward bend. Now this time we're gonna walk our hands out again. Find our plank. Now I'm saying plank with knees up, but anytime you can always lower the knees, you know that. Here we're gonna alternate between down dog and this plank. So we lift our hips, we push the hips up. Notice how the upper back, spine, shoulders, and hips tuck. They tilt a little bit. They're actually lifting up toward the ceiling. Lower the knees. Let's try it from lower knee and just complete. So here's our cat-cow. Here's our cow. The pelvis is tucked, I'm looking up. And I begin that whole spinal roll. Tilt the pelvis, let the back open, lift the hips. Come to your full down dog. And just do that a couple times. I'm gonna come watch and see if what I'm saying is making sense in terms of your rhythm. Go ahead and come to down dog. See if you can feel that cat action. There you go, perfect. And then come on through, pressing the floor, lifting the chest. And right at the bottom, we don't want to completely let go of the back, but yeah, you're feeling the chest open. Do it one more time. Tilt, tuck, press. And when you're fully in that down dog, there's that little bit of, yes, pelvic tilt. I see it. That is beautiful. Come on down to the knees and just drop those knees and come to child to rest for a few breaths. Let that back kind of find its alignment. I know. Oh, good job. Now the most ambitious version of these spinal rolls kind of looks like we did coming from child. We're going to We're gonna start in down dog. So here we are again in down dog with the most lift in our pelvis that we can get. Then we begin to tuck the pelvis, organize the belly, come forward over those wrists, and we might be able to get to an up dog from there. Yes. And then it reverses to come back to down dog. Yeah. So you look like you've got that. Just try it with that awareness of what the spine is rippling through in those two actions that we're exploring. Down dog, there's a pelvic tilt. And up dog, there's a pelvic tuck to support. One more time. Tilt. Tuck. That tuck's going to help us get through our plank and then release with the chest open. There we are. Okay, enough. Very hard work. Try to rest in your down dog for a few breaths. Just letting things organize and neutralize. We'll do a little, we haven't done a lunge yet, so go ahead and let the right leg float up a little bit. Let the knee come in to the belly. Notice how that's that round cat part, and then lunge the leg forward between the hands. We've been working on this. Drop the back knee. Here we are in a lunge. We're trying to get to this right leg forward lunge. And if it's okay on your back, walk yourself up and support yourself here in this lunge. Now, if you can come forward in that back leg a little bit, it's going to relieve pressure on the knee. I don't know if you can, but try to sink a little bit. Now, see if you've got any hip action here in this hard position. If we were doing cat-cow, I would tuck the pelvis. That's going to lift me back towards that back knee. And then the cow part, the lift, I actually come forward. So see if you can find any degree of movement with that cat-cow motion in this lunge. Once you finish, forward into your lunge, let the hands come down to the floor, tuck those toes, and find your strength to lift back to down dog. So everything we're doing, every single one of these poses is taxing our hip and spinal ability to arch and round. So here we go again, left leg this time. We try to come into that strong cat and then bring the leg forward. And so we don't have to work so hard. We're going to drop the back knee. And of course you can always use a blanket to support yourself. Now you can do that tilt tuck here with your hands on the ground. I'm going to try to get mine up a little bit, but see what works for you. And just find that spinal movement here. Whole idea is if we can find the spinal flow, tilting and tucking, it actually really helps our ability to maintain a complete breath. One more time. Come down. Last time, we're going to find our way to a full down dog. And by now, you might be able to feel a little bit of that cat-cow movement in the down dog. So yeah, we're trying to stay lifted, but as we breathe, the spine will actually ripple just a little bit as we deepen into the pose. So let's take our hands and walk ourselves back to that forward bend. Let your arms come out like wings. Rise up to raised mountain, upward salute. And just let the hands come to the heart space. Take a few breaths just to tune in to what's been happening in the spine, the breath in the belly. Let the arms come down. And let's make our way facing the other way, because we'll do a few little warrior series. The spine's nice and awake. We won't necessarily do cat-cows in them, but I want you to kind of try to keep the awareness of where the hips are in relation to the back and the shoulders. So just step the right leg back. Find your warrior one position. Neutral spine. So here's my tendency to sink into the lower back. I'm going to try to lift and tuck that pelvis just a little bit. Let the arms come up. The arms open out. We'll find our warrior two. Checking that alignment in our hips. Lifting and tucking just a bit if we need to, or releasing the tuck to get maximum good neutral alignment in that back. Reverse warrior comes next. We're just going to let the back arm drop, the front arm come up, look up if that's comfortable. Let those side ribs open up. And then come forward. I'm going to support myself in this extended angle, forearm on my front thigh, and just try to open up that side body. The arm can stay straight up or come a little bit more forward over the ear. Use the arm and the side ribs and the strength of the hips to lift back up to warrior two. And then let the feet come parallel. So you'll be facing the side of your mat. You can change directions if you need to see me, but we're just going to do a forward bend from here. This wide angle forward bend. Just let the hands come down, touch the floor between the legs, even if we have to bend our knees quite strongly. I think your video froze up on me, Carl. So sorry if I can't see you. There you are. Very nice. But go ahead and, that looks good on the back of your legs. Go ahead and soften your legs and see if you can press your hands into the floor. Just enough to do a couple cat-cows here. So let me see your long spine. Yep, there you go, round. One more, long spine. Yes, round. See if you can bring that action into the hips just a little bit. Yeah, good job. And pick your way to come out of this. Just your hands can come to your hips. The knees can soften, you can roll up nice and safely on the back. And we'll do that series on the other side. So just face yourself to the front of the mat again, whatever you're using as your front of the mat. Here we go. We're gonna step back, align, check our hips, bend our front knee and find our warrior one. Bringing that awareness to what are my hips doing? What's my spine doing? lifting chest if that's possible, and then open out to warrior two. Another check of the hips. Trying to find neutral. Neutral is where our most strength is. Reverse warrior, let that front hand come up. Look at the hand, if it's comfortable for your neck. Open those side ribs. And then take the breath and let it help you come and extend the other side rib in this extended angle. Lift yourself back up. Arms come out. Strong warrior two. Let the feet come parallel. Now, I'm gonna suggest we do a mudra here. So you make sure you can do this. One option is to clasp the hands to help open the chest. If that's not possible, just find a way to lift and open the chest with the hands just supporting the back. And from this nice lift of the chest, come forward into a forward bend. Seeing how long you can keep the spine. It'll eventually want to round as that motion comes into the back of the legs. Yeah. When we pick our way to come up, I'm going to try a straight spine rise, but you always can do the roll up, soft knees, but we can let our spine stay long and just open up another way if the back feels strong enough. And then just step your way to the front of the mat. So Carl, at this time in the class, I was gonna let there be a little bit of yogi choice. So do you have a favorite pose you'd like to do right here?
Oh, I like plow and shoulder stand.
You do? Let's do it. Let's do it. So come on down. I can just watch. I didn't know you loved shoulder stand. I love shoulder stand. So go ahead and come into your shoulder stand. Just take your time, however you're used to coming into it. Very good to invert like this. Legs come up. Our video froze. I'm assuming you're up in your shoulder stand. Come on back, video. Once you feel nice and supported, you look perfect. I like to do a plow, one leg and then the other leg, but see how that feels. Take the right leg and put it into plow because it helps us notice what the hips are doing. Yours don't go ski-wampus at all like mine do. And then lift that leg up. Let the left leg come down, check the hips. Check the back, yes. Come on back up. And then let both legs come over and just rest that spine and plow. Perfect. Yeah, I can see why you like it. Some people, this is one of their least favorite poses. They really don't like that sense of compression in the chest and the neck, but it's actually very helpful for those upper chakra stimulation. And then let me see how you like to come out of it. Nice and safely, I like to roll the spine down bit by bit, engaging the core just like that. Yeah. And you can let the legs come out. That means you've got all that core strength. And see if you can hold the legs up for a minute and then let go and just rest. Yeah, you've got the strength to come all the way down. Most of us have to kind of bend the knees about midway through. Just rest for a minute, take a few breaths on your back like that. So Carl, what's your least favorite pose that you really hate it when the teacher says do this pose?
Yeah, I don't know if I have one, you know.
Okay, well that's a good answer. I'll pick one of my least favorite poses and we'll do. How's that? How about sitting up and we'll come into some version of a camel. I like to do camel after really warming the spine and the hips, because otherwise this pose sort of scares me. I don't know why. So camel, we're on our knees. We're basically standing in mountain on our knees. And we're lifting and tucking the hips. Remember, we've been talking about that. We're going to tuck the pelvis under enough that our hips can actually go forward in front of our knees. That's what we're aiming for. The back simply rests over that strong base of support. And from here, one arm on the foot at a time, or we can put both arms on the feet. But what's going to happen is if our hips stay stable and tucked, we're going to be able to support a nice arch of the spine. And come out of it lots of ways, but what I like to do is just come back to standing on the knees and let the hips sink down. We'll do that a couple times. That's better than I'm normally able to do it, and that's because of this strong hip warm-up we did. So I'm gonna go through my stages again. If you can get there more quickly, go ahead and go there. I sort of walk my pelvis forward, breathe and find how much of an arch my back can take. And I can either stay like that just for a few breaths, or find a little bit of support with the hands behind. I can't always do it. Helping myself up. Coming back. And I'm just going to go into a child pose to let that spine round and release as a counter. Okay, that was kind of fun. I honestly don't have a pose that I hate either, but that's one that when people say do camel, I immediately, my mind starts kind of like, oh, I hope I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. You know, it just kind of starts reacting a little bit. So let's come to our back. We're gonna rest our back on our hips. So I'm gonna suggest we keep our knees bent. Let the spine release into the floor. Not doing anything with the spine except letting it release for a moment. In fact, take your arms and just cross the arms and give yourself a big hug. I've got my right arm over my left and the elbows are kind of pointing up. Just letting those shoulder blades open a little bit. And then recross the arms the other direction. Help release that upper back. Sometimes I even lift the elbows up a little bit. Bridge lifts, which I do all the time because it's the same thing we're working on. Bridge lifts help us come into awareness of what our hips are doing in relation to the spine. And it very much uses that tuck tilt that we've been working on. So we'll start by pressing the feet into the floor and tilting, tucking the pelvis. That's going to flatten out the lower back. And we're going to lift up onto the shoulders, which you've already done, and then lower, reverse of that. So upper spine, mid-spine, the tailbone finally comes and we just let go. Do that a few times, feeling that strong tuck of the pelvis. Lift the hips, slowly let the hips come off the floor. Let the weight come as high on the shoulders as your body allows, and then reverse that flow. Upper back, mid back, lower back, and tailbone. Here's our peak. So we're going to take that bridge lift and we're going to try to hold it for a few breaths. So go ahead and take your lift as high up onto the shoulders as you can go. And just work those shoulders, just like in a shoulder stand. You're kind of working the shoulders underneath the bodies, working the elbows closer together. For some people, this is their shoulder stand. Very good preparation for it. A few breaths. And then lower on down, nice and mindfully, feeling the spine all the way down to the floor. We'll stretch out a little bit. So let the right knee come into the chest. Give yourself a little hug. Grab your back of the thigh or the shin and pull that knee towards the chest. And then straighten the leg, let leg get long, foot flat, so it's trying to stand on the ceiling. And then walk yourself up. So we're rounding our spine, we're trying to kiss our knee. Just let that back round, let that leg come towards the forehead. If it's comfortable, go ahead and straighten the left leg long along the mat. Or keep it bent, it's fine. And just hold that nice hamstring stretch. Then let the head lower. We're going to let that knee bend again. Little hug, knee to chest. And if you're on the same leg as I am, I'm going to help my right knee come to the left side of the body. So the hips will roll, and then let my right arm come out to the side so it stabilizes. And I'm going to just work into the spinal twist. The knees trying to relax into the floor. It might not get there. The counterpoint to this spiral is the shoulder pressing into the floor. And just breathe. The neck can look away from the knee if that's okay. You get a nice little neck stretch if you can do that. Take several breaths here. Takes a while to let go any tension in the back and the hips that we've been working. We'll come out of it nice and easy. The knee's going to come back to the chest and the hips will come flat on the floor. If your legs straight, go ahead and bend that left knee and place the outside of the right foot on that thigh. Come into this little reclined pigeon shape of a figure 4. Yep. And you can just stay here, letting that hip open, or you can thread the arms through the 4 shape, grab behind the left thigh, and deepen the stretch by bringing that left knee towards the chest. We're really not trying to do much here except breathe and release tension wherever we find it in our body. And let go, just let the foot come back to the floor. We'll do that series on the other side. So we start with just bringing the left knee to chest. You choose whether you want the opposite leg long or bent. And then develop that leg as straight as it allows, where you can still support a stretch all the way down the back of the leg. And if okay, let the back round and bring your head closer to the knee, which is going to help you get deeper into the hamstring stretch. Come out, you're just going to lower your head. Let the knee bend. Come into the chest. And then come into your spinal twist. So left knee's going to aim towards the right side of your body. The hip will lift. You just feel that back spiraling, supported by the tension of the knee. Weight on one side and the shoulder grounding on the other side. And just breathe, letting that back spiral deeper. Couple more breaths. Sometimes on those last breaths, you can maybe adjust the angle of the knee just a little bit, finding anything else that could use a little attention. Bring that knee back, let the hips ground. Pelvis is flat on the floor, and then find that figure 4. The left foot on right thigh. Open, using that traction to open the hip. And then thread the arms through. Sometimes I stay in that first position for a while, so feel free to. This action actually changes the stretch to be more into the outer buttocks region. So both are good stretches. You sort of pick what your body seems to need today. Breathe and release. Go ahead and release that. The leg comes off. And we're going to open our leg into a reclined butterfly. Now, Carl, I like to use a little bit of, I noticed you had a blanket or a pillow or something. See if this feels good to you. I like to lay my spine onto a bolster or a blanket sometimes. Gives a little bit of upward pressure to the spine, just a very passive little back bend, and then let the knees open and just hang open. into this nice relaxed hip opener. Yeah, got it. You can change the angle of the, if it gets too much, you can kind of bring the heels away from the buttocks, or closer to the buttocks, exploration to find out what works. It feels restorative. Use our breath to soften into this pose, calm butterfly. When we come out, we're just going to use very little effort to let the knees come back up toward the ceiling. And we'll actually reverse the tension on the hips by walking the feet out wide. So the knees are kind of trying to stay together. The feet are trying to come wide on the mat. They may get to the edge or even a little bit beyond the edge. Just let those knees aim toward each other. That's going to put the opposite kind of tension on the hips, an inward rotation. And just breathe. I'm sure this has a name for the pose. I actually, in my own practice, call this teepee. The knees are sort of that central pole. Go ahead and come out of it by bringing the feet more directly in line with the hips. You can just kind of toe heel yourself there. And to finally neutralize the hips, we're going to do kind of like our windshield wiper action here. So what happens is we're going to do kind of a spinal twist, letting the knees fall side to side, but just keeping the feet open and parallel. So when you go, let the knees fall to, say, the right side, they'll separate. One hip is opening, the other hip's internally. And then up and over, and let them rotate the other direction. So you just back and forth like that, kind of picking your own rhythm, side to side. Nice little massage to the kidney area in the back. Nice way to neutralize the hip rotators. Up and over. And from here, you're just going to kind of pick when you're ready to come to your full relaxation in Shavasana. I sometimes like to go step by step, so just letting one leg releasing the muscles around the hip, the thighs, the foot, and then let the other leg come along. When they're fully relaxed, for most of us, our feet will sort of flop out a little bit. And same with the arms. Check shoulder, right shoulder's nice and heavy to the floor, left shoulder releasing. into the floor. The palms will just be relaxed and be away from your body. And then finally check the jaw. Make sure the back of the head's nice and relaxed into the floor. You're not holding your neck up with your muscles. Let it go. Sometimes rolling it right and left will help me do that. Nice and slow. And eventually we're there, we've arrived, we know we're ready to let completely go. Just let our body sink into the floor. Let the breath be very natural and unforced. And just give ourselves permission to do absolutely nothing. And I just long for us in these times of stress. This is a wonderful little gift to ourselves. Actually gives the nervous system time to reset, consolidate the work of the practice, integrate. When you're ready, take your easiest, most comfortable way to roll into any side and slowly make your way to a comfortable seated position. Hopefully this awake spine and pelvis that we worked today help the breath, help the mind let go of stress. So just bring our hands to our heart and close with an Om together. Om. Namaste.